Scoring 6 and assisting 14, Fabio Vieira had all of the top European clubs watching him. But for the price of £30 million, it's Arsenal who have officially secured his services. But what exactly was Mikel Arteta's secret reason behind the signing? What update do we have on Yuri Tielemans from David Ornstein? And are Arsenal set to make their opening offer for Raphinha? Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Babs14 and welcome back to your boys channel. I hope you guys are doing tremendous. Don't forget to smash a like on the video if you enjoy the content and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Now only less than 6,000 away from the big gargantuan 100k. But into the Arsenal transfer news, and starting off with Fabio Vieira. There wasn't that much waiting involved because this was a surprise transfer which came out of nowhere. There was no, bids made and negotiation phase. Reports came out less than a week ago that Arsenal had agreed a deal. We got the here we go, and today, my friends, we have got the official confirmation. With Arsenal saying Benvindo Fabio, confirming that Vieira has signed for Arsenal on a 5-year contract and receives the number 21 shirt. I'll be quite honest with you guys, this is the type of transfer that I love to see. None of that fugazi negotiations or bids are being made and bids are being rejected. No plain tracking or cloud spotting. The first report was the deal was agreed, and now a week later, or less than a week later, the player is officially of Arsenal Football Club. Mikel Arteta says, "I am very excited that we've identified and signed such a special talent. Fabio is a very creative player that will bring high quality and the versatility to our attacking play." According to David Ornstein, this transfer is all Mikel Arteta's. He pushed for the transfer to get it over the line, and you can understand why. Last season, Arsenal did make chances and the expected goals of near 70 isn't the worst. In fact, it's the third best or fourth best in the Premier League. But when it came to actually big chances created, Arsenal remained firmly in mid-table. We might have Martin Odegaard and Saka and Smith Rowe who create chances, but we still lack the incisive pass in that final third. And when it comes to Fabio Vieira, he is an expert in that category. Vieira says, "I am a fan of Bukayo Saka and Smith Rowe too. I really like the way they play. Odegaard is quite similar to me." The primary reason that Arsenal have signed Fabio Vieira is to play as an interior number 10 and number 8, especially in a 4-3-3, with him then being left-footed and very similar in terms of gait to Martin Odegaard. This will be quite a battle, and next year Martin Odegaard is going to have serious competition for his place. That will hopefully breed a better Martin Odegaard, but Vieira is also able to play as a left-sided interior, and then you might see some games with Martin Odegaard and Vieira in the same team. But in terms of the excitement of what Arsenal are getting here, there's a reason behind it. Vieira was directly involved in 22 goals in 32 appearances across league and European competitions last season. In total, 1,556 minutes, 16 assists and 6 goals, meaning a goal or assist every 70.7 minutes on average. The stats are simply outstanding, and even in terms of the underlying metrics, looking at Vieira's attacking midfield templates, it's clear to see he excels in that final third. The penalty area entries, the final third entries, the final third passes, the through balls, and even possession won in the final third, ranking up there with the best in Europe. This is a player that is a superb technician. It is almost a throwback signing to the days of Arsene Wenger. Next season, when teams do play the low blocks against Arsenal on a far more consistent basis, the ability of Fabio Vieira to thrive in the half spaces and in between the lines is going to be so vital. But ultimately, Mikel Arteta has a very good structure, and he tries to structure the attack in a certain way. But in some games, you need that moment of magic, and while Martin Odegaard can provide that, I believe Odegaard is more of a build-up player, more of a player that gets the pre-assist, the pass before the actual assist. But when it comes to that final pass into the box to make the chance, apart from maybe Bukayo Saka, there aren't that many Arsenal players, and certainly not any players on the level of Fabio Vieira. As comparing him to the under-23 players in the top 5 European leagues when it comes to progressive passes and expected assist, up there with the best in Europe in Kokchu, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and there you have our boy in Fabio Vieira. You see, with Man City and Liverpool, they have great structures, they've got great attacks, but in two specific players, your Kevin De Bruyne or your Trent Alexander-Arnolds, when the structure is unable to break teams down, these two players have that pass in their locker, that moment of magic. Despite Martin Odegaard's ability to play that pass, he is not as consistent as a Fabio Vieira. The ball striking is a lot better, he's a lot more decisive and quicker. And when it comes to that trademark De Bruyne Alexander-Arnold cross from the half space, as he showed for Porto against Liverpool in the Champions League, that is an area where Fabio Vieira certainly excels. On top of that, you're getting the versatility of a player that is so able to play out wide on the right, that has played in a front two, that has played as a number 8 and as an interior. He's got the tenacious work rate and the pressing ability, the perfect age profile and not too expensive at £30 million. Ultimately, the secret behind this transfer, it is another step from Mikel Arteta in his mode of trying to make Arsenal just like Manchester City. You look at Aaron Ramsdale versus Ederson. Both goalkeepers aren't actually the best when it comes to traditional shot stopping and are more important in the build-up phase. Ben White has so many signs of a younger John Stones. The targeting of a Yuri Tielemans is of a similar profile to Ilkay Gundogan. For myself, Martin Odegaard reminds me in certain aspects at least of David Silva, a player that's superb in the build-up phase. Fabio Vieira is Mikel Arteta's latest in the line, and I believe Mikel Arteta is signing him for him to act as our version of Bernardo Silva. Despite his ability to play the final pass a bit like KDB, the versatility, the way they dribble, their gait, their size, the superb ability to play in tight spaces and excel there, Fabio Vieira ranks up pretty similar, profile-wise at least, to Bernardo Silva. So yes, ultimately you could call Arsenal a Diet Coke version of Manchester City, but ultimately it's the profiles of what Arteta has targeted, and that is the reason why we are signing Fabio Vieira. So as per, we have to give Fabio Vieira a gargantuan welcome to Arsenal. There is so much excitement there, but what do you guys make of this transfer for the fee of £30 million? Just like our last Vieira, do you believe Fabio Vieira will be a success at Arsenal Football Club? According to David Ornstein, there is no doubt the key decision makers at Arsenal are all in for Tielemans. They want to explore a deal for him, but it feels like a bit more complicated, just in terms of congestion of positions and order of signings they are going for. David Ornstein has reassured Arsenal fans that Tielemans remains on Arsenal's radar and that so many people behind the scenes, which surely includes Arteta, are massive admirers of the player. But just like we've discussed over the past few days, it looks like Tielemans has dropped down the rankings for Arsenal in terms of priorities. Arsenal there seems to be a process where they understand Lisandro Martinez, Raphinha and Gabi Jesus are far more harder negotiations. Ornstein also claims there isn't seeming to be a massive market for Yuri Tielemans. With the lack of competition there, I think Arsenal understand maybe playing the waiting game not only will lower the price tag, but also allow them to sort out their finances, sell some players and get their other main harder targets over the line and then go for Yuri Tielemans. But one of those transfers before Tielemans looks like Lisandro Martinez. Another Che Golazzo podcast, Fabrizio Romano says Ajax want 45 to 50 million euros for Lisandro Martinez. It's true, Arsenal are absolutely interested. They approached Ajax with a proposal for 30 million euros, but it is not enough. Lisandro is top of the list at the centre-backs for Arsenal. So ultimately the price tag isn't too far away, but there is still a distance there. And if Arsenal want to sign him 45 to 50 million euros, it's down to them to negotiate that, get that down. But it's definitely payable, especially if Arsenal are to sell players like Torreira, Nicola Pepe and even Hector Bellerin. There are some doubts. At the height of 5'9", is Martinez tall enough to win duels as a Premier League centre-back? Well, as Casey Evans points out, Martinez, despite being 5'9", wins 3.7 aerial duels per 90 at a success rate of nearly 70% in the Eredivisie. In comparison, a 6'3" centre-back in Pau Torres won only 1.8 aerial duels per 90 last season, at a success rate of under 60%. It just proves, despite the lack of height, he is still a pretty aggressive centre-back, and I advise Arsenal fans to go watch his performance in the Champions League against Erling Haaland, who is 6'4", 6'5", he's a massive guy. Martinez utterly dominated him and the aggressive South American nature came through, but despite of that defensive ability, and he showed that he is no weakling in the defence. Moving on to the future of Raphinha, one of the hottest transfers around Arsenal and the Emirates Stadium. Over the past few days, some reliable sources have confirmed that Arsenal are closing into his services. But when it comes to reliability, there is a certain Arsenal source that seems to be up there with the GOATs, and that is David Ornstein. And he has said that I don't think the signing is close to happening, but the interest in him is clear and firm. Mikel Arteta and a number of others at Arsenal really like Raphinha. Their admiration is not particularly fresh, it goes back a little way. Have they acted on that firm interest and made their opening offer? Well, according to David Ornstein with an exclusive, he says this evening Arsenal have submitted a formal offer to Leeds for Raphinha. Arsenal contacted Leeds United earlier to indicate the intention to make the bid, and that has now landed. It falls well short of Leeds United's valuation and is expected to be rejected out of hand. There is no confirmation of the price tag, but according to Fabrizio Romano, Leeds want close to 65 to 70 million euros, which is around 55 to 60 million pounds. One can only estimate maybe Arsenal made a bid of 40, 45. Definitely better than the offer by Barcelona, but not enough to get Leeds to convince them to sell the player. But as Freddie Paxton of The Guardian says, tonight's bid from Arsenal is a clear indication from recent talks that Raphinha is open to joining Arsenal. I imagine that this will be somewhat a game of chess in the coming weeks to reach a fee that all parties are happy with. I do agree that in the sense of if Arsenal were to agree a fee with Leeds United, I believe the player would come to the Emirates. But ultimately, having agreed personal terms with Barcelona and the interest from Chelsea and Tottenham teams are in the Champions League, if Arsenal want to get Raphinha over the line, they will have to do some convincing. But in terms of Arsenal and the entourage of Raphinha and his agents, Arsenal do have existing relations, and according to the Telegraph, Fabio Vieira and Raphinha are both represented by the same agency, which is run by super agent George Mendes. So with the smoothness of negotiations during Fabio Vieira and the agreement of personal terms, Edu Gaspar has the agency on speed dial, and with the existing relations there and the successful relations, it should make personal terms a lot easier. And I do expect a long negotiations. It's not going to be easy. But do you guys believe that Raphinha is worth the reported 60 million pounds that Leeds are asking for? Fabrizio Romano with a Gabriel Jesus update says that Arsenal are working on it and negotiations are very advanced. Arsenal will now need to be fast on the final key details involving the player and the agents to get a deal done and avoid twists. Tottenham and PSG are still waiting to see the end of the story, meaning that Arsenal are closing into a deal, and the fact that he mentions the player and the agents and not Man City almost indicates that Arsenal have agreed a fee, and it's just now a matter of getting the personal terms sorted out, which according to reports should not be an issue. Arsenal have put the best offer forwards, and the player is desperate to link up once again with Mikel Arteta. Well, according to the reliable Belgian journalist Insacha Tavoleri, despite rumours that surround his departure, it is very clear that in the mind of Sambi Lokonga and his entourage, they wish to stay at Arsenal. Burnley or not, or Vincent Kompany or not. There's been a few reports thinking Sambi Lokonga would have moved to the Championship to link up with his ex-Anderlecht manager and Vincent Kompany at Burnley. But with Arsenal being in the Europa League and Mikel Arteta not having that many number 6 profiles apart from Partey, I don't believe Arsenal will loan at Sambi Lokonga. And ultimately, if he is to leave on loan, I believe a loan to a Premier League side that is mid-table makes a lot more sense. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, and starting off with an Arsenal right back that played in Spain in La Liga. He thrived, he won a trophy, hold that Harry Kane, and that player is Hector Bellerin. With James Bench reporting that Bellerin is currently assessing his options for next season. Betis are at the forefront, but not the only team that he is considering. He is not planning to terminate his Arsenal contract, and the club aren't yet either. They'd like to still get a fee. But I am sick and tired of assets of Arsenal Football Club where Arsenal could get a decent amount of money. They expect that Edu Gaspar is the terminator, terminate their contracts and they get free transfers. Bellerin is a player that a lot of other teams in Europe that could be able to afford him will also want to sign. And if Arsenal could get a 10-15 million pound transfer fee in return, again for the likes of Lisandro Martinez, Tielemans, Raphinha, that money will only aid our pursuits for those players. According to The Athletic, both Gabriel Martinelli and William Saliba will count as homegrown players for Arsenal next season. This is nothing more than a masterstroke from Arsenal Football Club. Having signed Saliba at the young age of 18, despite him going out on loan on numerous occasions, he was still registered in the Arsenal squads for the Premier League, and therefore that has now made him qualified as a homegrown player. Now Arsenal don't need homegrown players, we've got so many players that are playing in the first team that are of the quota, but what we have done now is ultimately increase the value of a Saliba. Pretty clever, I must say so myself. Anyways, that's the video there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. As always, smash a like if you do, subscribe if you are new, follow your boy on all of his social medias, the links will be down below in the description. But that was today's episode of the Transfers FC. The first bid has been made for Raphinha, the Jesus deal is coming to a close, but ultimately a gargantuan welcome to Arsenal to Fabio Vieira. Do Arsenal mean business? we're gonna have to wait and see. Until then, take care of yourselves and in a bit.